is he's going to get bullied by the Jayce. He's also going to get possibly set up for a dive with Xin being there as well. So there's some help that you have to give top lane here, or you're going to fall victim to the usual Team Liquid. Oh, I'm dying. Our top is consistently behind.
At the very least, I will say I am very happy that these are the drafts we ended up with for Game 1 because in my mind, they very much align with the two styles we painted when it comes to these teams and how they want to play. One team going towards that Jayce in the top side, the other team looking to put Ssumday possibly on an island and play towards the bottom.
I mean, much better team fight and scaling for 100 Thieves as well. You know, the Ornn has a lot of targets here, a lot of immobile carries that are going to get knocked up, and you can probably chain CC to death if they make it to team fights equal or ahead.
Yeah, and I'm expecting here 100 Thieves to play towards bot lane. There's a lot of setup there for an Aphelios that has purple gun really early on. If you go blue gun, purple gun really early, easy to set up for a gank alongside Leona. So that's what I'm expecting from 100 Thieves early on.
Well, we've already said it, but I'll say it again. This is a big matchup because it qualifies you not only to the LCS Championship, but it also buys you a top 2 seed when it comes to representing North America at Worlds. It's Team Liquid, it's 100 Thieves, heading out onto the Rift for the first time in this best of 5.
Welcome to our qualifying match for the finals. It's Team Liquid and 100 Thieves in a best of 5. My name is Captain Flowers. I am joined by Kobe, and I am hoping for a full 5-game banger, my friend.
I think we're in store for some extremely high-level League of Legends, Captain Flowers. Level 1, we've already got a stack here. Is it going to be a face check? Closer's trying to bait Santorin in a little closer to the brush.
Okay, doesn't look like we're gonna get too much out of this. 100 Thieves still all nice and clumped up. Closer the only one there, just in case Team Liquid wants to step a little bit closer, think that there's only one person to deal with. That is not the case. You can see there on your screen, hey, it's me and Kobe over here, but remember also that if you might happen to be out and about, got something else to take care of, you can check out League Day for the audio-only cast of the LCS, so you've got the action wherever you need to go. Pro view this game, checking out the junglers as well, and both of these two, Kobe, have been so important in their team successes.
They really have, you know, especially for the 100 Thieves size. Closer was very gank heavy in their series versus Evil Geniuses, and when those strategies work out, when a gank heavy jungler works out and you're succeeding and you're converting on all of your ganks, it looks extremely good, but there's high variance there. So Santorin, with how good he's been for Team Liquid in pathing and stuffing a lot of these plays, we have a very big magnifying glass on the jungle matchup to see if he can turn that story around, and you get to see the other flip side of gank-heavy junglers that actually forego some camps and sometimes use some extra time waiting around rather than farming up and playing for themselves.
Well, Alphari is doing what you would expect from a Jayce versus an Ornn nice and early on here, controlling the lane, making sure he's harassing his opponent away from this wave, and just being in total control. Both of our junglers have started on the bottom side of the rift, pathing towards that top side, so we may expect to see a Scuttle Crab fight here nice and early on. Jensen versus Abbedagge here in the mid lane. Syndra versus Ryze. I expect to see plenty of this matchup.
Yeah, they definitely are two of the highest prize, control mages in the meta right now. 100 Thieves and Abbedagge. He prioritized this 4 games out of the 5 versus EG. And it was really instrumental in especially a lot of their mid-game transitions with the Realm Warps, moving minions, transitioning between towers, going for these dives, going for these Baron setups. So they're able to utilize all aspects of the kit. One of the most important is the ability to traverse Summoner's Rift and make those big plays. Yep. As far as the early game, orientation here of both teams, Team Liquid have the pushing solo lane. So Alphari here on the Jayce, they picked this intentionally. Ssumday is going to answer it with the, tank of Ornn, but it does mean you get pushed under tower, you get harassed very low, and it attracts the junglers very early on. Waves stacked by Alphari, but Not going to be too low here for Ssumday, so Santorin just goes with the steal away on Krugs, and he actually leashed them further out of the spawn so that when you saw Closer there go for the Q, didn't actually get a confirm hit, so he knows that it's already been counter jungled. They know Santorin is up there.
Exactly. Because the skill shot doesn't hit, Closer knows that something's up. Yes, he could try to go up there and contest those Krugs, but when your laner is stuck underneath the turret, when the enemy has a more powerful early game champion, not really a good investment. Closer's on the other side of the map now, and he'll do a little bit of Krug thievery of his own.
And one of the biggest stories of playoffs, Flowers, has been the emergence of this very roam-heavy style that has been spearheaded by Corejj himself. Now, one of the tools you can use to actually help accelerate that style is early ganking towards bottom to give your bottom lane the freedom and the push out and unlock them to allow the support to then roam with you and go make a topside play or go make a mid lane play. A lot of these have actually been enabled, by these supports working with those junglers, and it's such a different story here compared to regular season, because you heard the analyst that's talking about, oh yeah, 100 Thieves in the regular season. Early game was one of their greatest strengths. They had over 1,000 gold advantage at 15 minutes on average in their games, and yet in this game, with drafting the weaker lane of the Ornn, and the different lanes here they've actually set up is not a lot about early snowballing and accruing a super big early advantage. It's much more about working on these timers. Now your Leona gets the first reset. Let's see about those supports. On the minimap, you can see both of them. This is what you should be doing for your early support resets, is always go out mid lane, because it gives you the option. If you want to force something around mid, you can come from this side, or you can head right back down to bottom side of the map like you see here. Corejj also did this, and so you get this mirrored support roams that then fight over vision and need to link up with their junglers if they want to have any sort of extra scrap around mid. Jensen does push up on the timer for Corejj. You see hovering below him. That's why he has the confidence to do this, and it's all about working on these control wards.
And honestly, I love this. I love this style. I love this change because it creates a more chaotic game state. It creates a situation that forces reactions from your opponent, because you can't just sit down there in bottom lane if the other guy's all over the rim.
You truly have not been able to, because how volatile a lot of the solo lane matchups are. It does beg the question, though, which team is going to be first to hard focus and try and get turret plates and force dives and really try and punish a heavy roaming style. In this matchup, though, with both of them on these melee supports, isn't going to be that iteration. That's why you saw both supports answering the movements towards mid, both of the supports fighting over the vision for their mid laners, and both junglers now playing around big minion waves. The other big thing here for top laners, it's been all about building up, slow push your big minion wave to 2 or 3 waves stacked up, and then fight on that as its own objective. Santorin up there hovers around to make sure that Alphari is able to get all the way in, and Alphari, they've even talked about, is one of the best at communicating a lot of his timers for topside. Hey, on this wave, we need to push out. Hey, on this wave, we can build the dive, look for the roam, these types of things. And Closer has done a very good job as well here for 100 Thieves, basically matching the entire time. And with the bottom lane moving up, they get the bottom Scuttle Crab. The first big real difference in this game, Captain Flowers. Scuttle Crab advantage there for 100 Thieves.
And I do like the fact that Closer made sure that he corralled it back down towards his teammates, toward the bottom part of the river. They are up against a Syndra, so even if you have man advantage, if the crab goes too close to Syndra, she yoinks it away and tosses it back towards her own teammates. So there's still the potential for a type of steal that is not normally available without this champion. So good heads-up plays down there. Also, talking about these bot lanes, I do want to point out both of our AD carries have cleansed this game because of the heavy CC supports, but there is a difference in support summoner spells. Huhi has gone for that more common Ignite, while Corejj has the Exhaust, which can be very useful later on in this game against the likes of Ryze, and even more so, a fed Aphelios or a scaled Aphelios if he gets to multiple items and wants to go crazy with the red-white guns and just turn into a tornado of chakrams. Exhaust could be critical in shutting that down.
Yeah, I really like the summer spell choice from Corejj because those are both very high damage output carries that don't have super long range. Unless Aphelios has green gun, then he's not going to be super long range, and the exhaust should be there for Corejj. Rell looking for a lot of these combo engages, and so the exhaust, as you're saying, is going to be a very, influential tool for those later team fights. As far as the early game, though, you know, Huhi with the Ignite on Leona, I do like this combination when your champion basically with your crowd control forces your opponent to pick, you know, cleanse because they're going to be scared about Ryze rumps as well. So there's a lot of value out of cleanse. But then if you get out the cleanse with one of your stuns, then you can tag the Ignite on afterwards after cleanse has already been used. And you can oftentimes still get the kill that way with the extra damage. Just don't double them up. If you stun and Ignite at the same time, then you lose both to the cleanse.
Losing a lot of value there. Top side's turning into a brawl. Let's see if Ssumday can get himself away from this one. He does not thus far. Alphari with the last little bit of damage for the shock blast. Doesn't connect on it. Wouldn't have killed him anyway. 100 Thieves managing to keep their top laner out of trouble. Santorin is up around here. He's a level lower than Closer, and he finds him here in the brush. Closer going in, starting off the fight, but wind becomes lightning, and Closer don't have a chance. First blood to Santorin.
Yeah, he's a level up, but he does not dragon kick for the disengage. He just gets annihilated there, not respecting Santorin's and Xhao, and that is just a straight up flop of the jungler on the side of 100 Thieves. All he needed to do was play defense there for Ssumday. He can neutralize this play by simply disengaging there. Ssumday could play under tower as the Ornn. You know, he was able to escape from the early harassment there from Alphari, but with the jungler going down, that is huge rewards for Team Liquid, Captain Flowers. You're watching the pro view. If you're watching the pro view, there's a big button that was not used on the side of Closer and 100 Thieves in that duel, and it was costly.
And if you're watching any view, you can see now the reward is that Rift Herald. That is such a huge early game objective. We've seen so much priority around that from teams compared to trying to go for these early Drakes, especially something like a Cloud Drake. Not going to happen. The Rift Herald can give so much money to these volatile solo lanes you talked about earlier.
Meanwhile,
What's it going to be, boys? All right, they don't want to go in. It's a Rell. It's not worth it.
I think up until that point, too, Closer had been doing such a good job, and he had actually eked out an extra 2-camp lead over Santorin because of the extra hovering that was done. But, yeah, definitely going to be a costly one. The first blood actually just swaps the gold advantage up to the side of Team Liquid. FTX gold advantage now over 500 for them, plus the gold that you have in inventory with your Rift Herald. And let's look at the pro view. This was actually from Santorin's point of view, and he's just going to go out as soon as he sees him. Yeah, you just charge in. Since that's not a complicated champion, EQ then saves a W for the end of guarantee because the W is so much damage, and he's able to hit it on Closer as he's trying to W himself away.
And I believe I did not see the red smite from Closer. I think his was on cooldown, whereas Santorin had his. Challenging smite is half of an exhaust, half of an ignite. It is incredibly powerful in a dueling situation, and that can make a huge difference.
Still brings me back to, if you see the red smite go down on your face, you kick the Xin away. Yeah, he does.
Fight's over. I'm done.
Because he got charged first. So right point blank in the tri-brush after Xin uses charge, kick him away. Meanwhile, though, they're going to have to recover because it's a best-of-5 series. This is where, you know, mental fortitude is such a big thing. You have to shrug off early mistakes like that. Closer does so. 100 Thieves collapse on the Dragon. They've got the objective for themselves at least traded. Yes, the Rift Herald is much more valuable because they should be able to get not only a large amount of gold out of turret plates, but also some very important tower damage to help them open up the map earlier on for the side of Team Liquid. But the Dragon being picked up there by 100 Thieves is a nice afterthought.
That Rift Herald has about half the time remaining on it, so around 2 minutes for Santorin to decide where he wants to drop it. He is up here top side once again. Two things I want to point out with our itemization here in this game on opposite sides. For Team Liquid, the mid-game power spike will be very real for them. They have 3 different champions all building a tier, stacking that up. We know how powerful those items are when they fully evolve. Over on the side of 100 Thieves, Ssumday is the first player with a completed item in the game because it's Anathema's Chains, but that only works on one champion. So if he finds himself focused by others, it's a problem. Santorin using the ulti there to prevent outside damage and make it so 100 Thieves can't re-engage. Now the fight fizzles out.
Yeah, good little exchange right there of the ultimate. Santorin still wants to move up and get his value out of his Rift Herald, though. So he's going to walk up. They get very close to taking down this turret. They can't get in range to finish it off for the last turret plate, but knocking it down that low basically leaves it flimsy enough that Alphari on this Jayce, with all the extra money that he's gotten, should be able to finish the duty later on unassisted.
Right. And you've still got about 45 seconds to see if you can shove another wave up here, get enough damage onto the turret to maybe take it out. Alphari will go ahead, clear out that last cannon minion. We'll see, does he want to keep this pressure on or just take the base here? Looks like he might go for this. Accelerated Shock Blast doesn't do a whole lot of damage to Ssumday, who is very tanky. He does have those chains attached to Alphari to reduce that damage by a very significant amount.
Yeah, if you haven't checked out the new items, by the way, for the tank items, this one is one of the most popular, and you can change targets. It just takes another minute to rebuild up the effectiveness. So
yeah,
you'll pretty much always, especially if you're rushing it like this, put it on your lane opponent for your laning phase, and then we'll see him towards the mid stages of the game probably swap it over to tactical, maybe Jensen, depending on who's getting more fed for the team fights. And easily be able to sustain a lot further through the team fights that way with the extra damage reduction.
It's also very effective in a composition like this as Tactical uses the cleanse to get out of the ulti from Huhi. When the enemy team only has one AP threat, attach the Anathema's chains onto the enemy mage. That way you're not really worried about having to build MR. You've already got a little bit in your base item as well from your mythic, and then you can hard stack the armor to better deal with the Varus, with the Xhao, with the Jayce, and it creates a pretty convenient opportunity for your itemization to feel very smooth. So
yeah, I'd say best case recommendation, always put it on whoever's the most fed on the opponent team.
That'll work.
Easy decision tree.
We will take those. Reduce the damage from the guy who does the most damage. I'm not a mathematician, but I think even Freak would approve of that one. He's probably got a spreadsheet somewhere for it. But
Anathema's 101. First lesson of the class. Corejj does get the interrupt on the recall, but then gets chased off of the ward kill. I think that's definitely worth it to interrupt FBI there. You can see already the difference in the items. You know, coming right back to lane, Tactical's already got full Eclipse, and by interrupting that recall, FBI has to still sit on that Noon Quiver. No Mythic completed for him, allows Tactical to push in first, and we're seeing that open up Corejj to roam. So that was the case of Corejj buying himself his own little timer there with the interrupt, gets that deep ward that you see now on the bottom screen on the minimap, and now he's threatening for the dive.
we're going in for a dive. The piercing arrow finds him, but a nice flash away from FBI. Needs one more hit to take down Corejj, but Ssumday just runs him over with the ram after the teleport, and 100 Thieves have the punish.
Nice collection there from Ssumday. Teleports down. You see the communication as well. He was heading up the river for vision through the setup here on Dragon, but communicated that the river control has been given over to Team Liquid, and Santorin was heading down, so they escape without a cost for themselves. The thing to look at now is going to be Summoner Teleport Discrepancy. Topside there for Alphari. Can Team Liquid set anything up with this? He is level 11, Eclipse completed, so he is at least on the line for some heavy chunk damage if he can find himself, you know, attacking Abbedagge or FBI.
Yeah, we're having mythic items come online for pretty much everyone that's not a support at this point. Of course, Ssumday will be a little bit behind since he rushed a non-mythic item for his matchup. But looking at our FTX total gold here, it's really not that far apart. 600 gold separates the two teams 16 minutes into the game, with Dragon spawning in 2 seconds.
Yeah, other big discrepancy, of course, the Ornn ultimate and the Aphelios ultimate are going to be down, but remember that Corejj and Tactical both use their ults too, so it's 2 ults traded for 2 on this fight.
Okay, Huhi might take a little bit of damage here, but the Dragon's already secured by Closer with the side of 100 Thieves. Now they're going to focus down Santorin. They've already got him. It's a 1-for-nothing plus an objective. 100 Thieves are loving this play.
Yeah, and Santorin knew that was a one-way trip. He's charging in on Sin. He's going right into the enemy team. He immediately uses his own ultimate, but full collapse there from 100 Thieves. And you could tell Team Liquid were on the same page of not committing to this fight. They're just sending him in for the steal. So steal unsuccessful. 100 Thieves take it right back, Captain Flowers. This is now 2 Dragons stacked up, so they are rewarded for the earlier take of this Cloud Drake that they got on the back half after Team Liquid got so much off of top side.
It's also an Infernal Soul. Very, very powerful stuff. If they can continue this stack, get that online here, you're looking at probably about 26, 27-minute Soul if they can get both of the next ones around the time when they spawn, which could be very powerful in terms of a win condition to end this game. Corejj continues roaming around. You can see one of the consequences of this heavy roaming playstyle, Corejj is level 6. Now, even his opposite in Huhi is level 8, 2 levels above him. So it does leave you behind. Remember that supports are on a very low economy anyway, and each level up in League of Legends gives you around at least 300 gold's worth of stats, I believe, something around that neighborhood. So Corejj is a bit behind right now and can easily be exploded, even as a tanky support, if he goes in at the wrong time. So it's something that you have to be cognizant of. If you're trying to play this heavy roaming playstyle, you are going to naturally fall behind in EXP. As Team Liquid, let's see what they can do here. We do have the Rift Herald aggroed up for the second time. Ssumday coming in, looking to stop it. Abbedagge just getting jumped on. Santorin's going in. But does he have the damage to finish the job? It doesn't appear so. Santorin very, very low now with Huhi ready to join in the fight now too. Closer finds the Sonic Wave. Resonating strike, and there's vengeance for the first blood. Now they're finding another kill. It's Jensen picking up one onto Huhi. FBI is down, and 100 Thieves have no more chance after that. Alphari goes forward and Abbedagge goes out. But Alphari is not done yet. The accelerated shock blast over the wall. He doesn't have the cooldown in time, but that'll be a 2-for-1 for Team Liquid.
Really good re-engage there by Corejj. Santorin got shot down there on the Xin after being chunked down really low by 100 Thieves, and yet Corejj turns it all around with the big re-engage. Gets FBI in there in addition to Huhi, and the rewards flowers mean Rift Herald number 2, which I really think needs way more importance in the current state of League of Legends. Rift Herald number 2, with the added value that we now have on secondary turrets, them being worth even more than the outer ones, it really is a bigger objective than previously in the season. Now here's another look at those. So Santorin had charged right back in and flash out, but gets basically pinpoint assassinated by 100 Thieves as they focus fire, and it is the stun from Jensen that allows Corejj to get his good ult over the top, and he jumps over the Huhi, so they get Huhi and sucks in FBI there to get the 2-for-1, allowing them the extra Rift Herald and this transition to an early setup.
Jensen topping the charts on that one. I don't even know how Huhi did 76 damage total, but Jensen hitting the almost 3K is exactly what they need there. Rell going to show up, and Abbedagge is immediately ready to go after tactical. He sidesteps some of it, but not all of it. He's already down, and now we're going to see if Team Liquid can find anything on the back end of the fight. FBI does lose his Immortal Shield, but Corejj, 4-man engage on 100 Thieves, and they will be torn to shreds. Closer gets one on the very back end, but they're going to take him out too. The hero of the day, the hero of NA, Corejj. Team Liquid's heading over to Baron.
That was simply nasty, Captain Flowers. Corejj and Jensen both combining. The previous fight, Jensen hits the sun, Corejj goes in for the ult. This one, Corejj hits the ult, then Jensen follows up with the Scatter the Weak, and they annihilate 100 Thieves. Now it's Ssumday versus 3 Team Liquid members on Baron. He's trying to distract him. He's trying to throw rocks at them at their backs while they're DPSing it down.
Abbedagge has teleport. He's able to join up with Ssumday now. Team Liquid did not have the damage to finish the Baron in time, but now they have the opportunity to grab a free kill onto Ssumday, and they'll find it. Team Liquid, they get the team fight win. Yeah, they'll miss out on Baron, but now they still got a 5v4 for the next 30 seconds, and Dragon spawns in 20.
You feel for Ssumday, you know, his duty there is just to go harass them, throwing rocks, throw as much as he can, making noise outside the back of Baron, trying to delay, and in the end gets chased down, sacrifices his life to stop this Baron possible play from Team Liquid. As you say, though, the critical third Drake comes up. Ssumday, no teleport, so Team Liquid should be able to shove 100 Thieves out of this Dragon area, no contest. They have the range advantage. They're the ones with the Varus, Jayce, and Syndra. So if they can move in here, they should be able to take it. No response from 100 Thieves. Very well advised, because looking at how these two comps are supposed to play out as we transition into a lot of these mid-game objectives, Flowers, it is a lot about Team Liquid trying to push out sideways and then get there first so they can make use of their range advantage. All of this poke, as you can see in our Honda performance replay, is going to be such a big factor. This is the one where Ryze Realmwarp comes over, they find tactical under the turret, even though Abbedagge doesn't hit the middle of his Everfrost there, doesn't matter. All you need is a slow. It allows them to land the rest of the skill shots. And then this is the big moment. Corejj, Flash, jumps in with the ultimate on. gets all of them with the E snapback as Jensen comes through, scatter the weak. Very good pickup kill there from Closer to at least get one back for 100 Thieves, but that still means that they get to run the map. I have to say though, Closer getting that kill actually did prevent the Baron. That was the extra damage that 100 Thieves would have needed to actually force that Baron, even with Ssumday there. So some heroics at the last moment by Closer on the side of 100 Thieves, even in a losing scenario for them, to basically prevent a bigger tragedy for the team.
And you can see mid lane there, 100 Thieves tried to go for another snipe onto Tactical underneath the turret. He did have his cleanse back up to be able to avoid some of that, and then Corejj stepping in to make sure that FBI could not get the snipe at the very end. So they really have their sights set on this Varus. This champion is very, very vulnerable. It's difficult to take him out, though, if the whole team's working to protect him.
You remember when Rell first came out, and we did an entire segment on Corejj Rell re-engages.
Yup.
He's great with a straight-up run down the middle, jump into 4 people, and get those juicy 4-person in-your-face engages, but he's also has been very good at baiting people in, getting turnaround re-engages. So definitely a champion that he is happy to see come back and makes very good use of. Let's take a look at how they can set up for the next one, though, because Team Liquid, as we said, they have such a strong range advantage heading into these mid-game objective fights that their main goal is to establish your vision control.
Yeah.
If you get vision control and you can get there first, basically clearing out this river, then you get such high value out of throwing out Shock Blast plus your arrows from Tactical on Varus to find poke before the engage from 100 Thieves comes through. And 100 Thieves, obviously, very clearly, with the Ornn, with the Ryze, with the Leona, they get your ultimates, they immediately hard engage on you. Those 2 long-range ults from Ornn and Leona set up perfectly for Ryze Realm Warp engages to close the distance.
So some big items coming online right about now. We have Steric's Gauge completed for Santorin. Jensen has also upgraded to a Medjai Soul Stealer because the Dark Seal is at 10 stacks. Why not? He's currently got 7 out of 8 kill participation with no deaths. That's what he wants to do. The boy's doing his homework and you love to see it. However, I do need to point out that we do now have a level 14 Ornn in the game, which means the ornaments are also starting to come online. He has already increased the power of his own Mythic, and now he's increased the power of FBI's.
And while you're going over item builds, I really like this, is the early move for a Banshee's Veil from him as well. Because he knows, just as we mentioned, the hard engage from the Ornn and from the Leona are the 2 things here from 100 Thieves that they're going to rely on to crack through and hard engage on this range advantage from Team Liquid. So Jensen goes into the second item, Banshee's Veil. You can see him, he plays aggressively on the Syndra because he knows he's going to have that extra block.
Yep. And you can see right there, even though Jensen is closer, Ssumday does not remove the Banshee's Veil from the first part of the Ornn ulti, so he's no longer a viable target for the second part. He has to shoot it over at Alphari instead, and it does not work out. Now Team Liquid will continue moving into 100 Thieves territory, taking whatever they can, set down some vision. They really want this tier 1 mid. It is the last remaining tier 1 turret for the side of 100 Thieves, and Team Liquid will knock that down. 3,500 gold lead now. We have 1 minute until our next Drake spawns. And Kobe, smells like a team fight to me.
Does it now? Does it now? Where's that smell coming from? Is it wafting down river, up river?
I think it's coming from the southern part of the river down there somewhere.
I see. Yeah. You know what? I'm getting a whiff of it too because there's 50 seconds left on this Infernal Drake. And we always recommend around 40 seconds to reset by your control wards. Perfect on timer there. The recall goes off. Going to see some extra control wards picked up for Team Liquid because they know so important for them. If they get early vision advantage around it, it's going to be so difficult for 100 Thieves. They come in blind. They have to really, really focus on hitting their engagements because the time works in advantage of Team Liquid. The more time you have to throw out these skill shots, ahead of the engagement, bigger advantage you're going to have going into the fight. And Santorin plus Corejj are still a very viable front line, even though they don't have a lot of tanky stats. They buy time with their abilities, with the ultimates.
It's already starting off here. You can see they tried to find FBI over the wall a little bit, but couldn't quite connect anything.
Good move, though.
He does need to be careful here. It's 100 Thieves with first priority on the pit.
Yeah, really good move by 100 Thieves to just rush into the river so that Team Liquid cannot set up their control wards here. Now it's about forcing on the Dragon. 6,000 health, Abbedagge up top side looking to join up with the rest of the squad.
Okay, Closer critically hits Sonic Wave on Jensen. There is no Banshee's Veil on the Syndra. Dragon's down to about 1,500. It's going to be secured and stolen by Santorin. Team Liquid grabbing the objective, but where's the rest of the fight going to go? Santorin with a defensive ulti, knocking away his opponent so he doesn't get picked off. That means they cannot get any sort of a punish for this steal. Team Liquid getting themselves out. Corejj going for the buffer. Closer tries to jump in, but he has to use his stopwatch just to stay alive. Jensen's timing is wrong, and Jensen goes down, but he's traded over for Abbedagge. FBI misses the ulti into the middle of the river as Huhi's going to be a double kill now for Alphari. Closer still hanging around, but he's got very low HP. Team Liquid chasing their opponents into the bottom lane. Accelerated Shock Blast will lead the charge, and Corejj will follow it up. FBI is going nowhere. They're the one who knocks on the door, baby. Team Liquid will absolutely destroy 100 Thieves in this post-Drake fight, and they will take everything.
Yeah, Liquid's gonna flood Summoner's Rift Flowers because they get the team fight afterwards. That means Baron on top of it. They get the steal on the Dragon. I think going into this, there's so many things to go over. Firstly, the setup from 100 Thieves. At the timing that they actually burned down the Dragon, they just had Closer use his Sonic Wave on the front line, so he doesn't have Q Smite combination for Lee Sen, and yet FBI and Ssumday are burning down this Dragon. FBI chunks it down to 300 while Closer's still walking back over, and so Santorin's able to hit the Smite steal for himself. Made it look a little bit easier there. I think the coordination on DPS from FBI and Closer leads to the stolen Dragon, but then here's the re-engage. The timing from Corejj, he's jumping away from the Leona ultimate, then pops the stun as Closer's coming in, so they get to interrupt on Closer, and Jensen walks up to try and finish him, but he gets annihilated. It still costs the overcommitment though. Alphari flanks around on the top side, and there's just not enough life left on FBI. You can see on the bottom of your screen to fight off the rest of them. Tactical has range advantage is too much here with the arrows coming through on Varus. Everybody else is just too low health, and then Corejj can finish it off with another beautiful Rell engagement. Flash jumps forward, collects every member, and guess what? Out of this Bud Light replay, are we gonna see them wearing purple flowers? Because I would put money on it.
I'm feeling it, my friend. Team Liquid, everybody's looking good right now. They got that Baron buff on. They've still got another 2 minutes to use it. Jensen respawned in time to get the buff as well. So everyone is in a prime position to keep this game moving forward. Ssumday finds Santorin and Corejj in his own jungle, but can't do a damn thing about it, as 100 Thieves now have to play very defensively. They need to dig in and find a way to defend because Team Liquid are starting to run away with things. Nearly a 6,000 gold lead. Pressure here in the mid lane. 100 Thieves may be looking for an engage on the side, but Huhi losing a lot of HP, nearly killed off, and Jensen seals the deal, flashing away to make sure there's no counterattack now. Corejj and Tactical also looking to see if maybe they can find somebody else, but it'll just be the 1-for-0.
And that is just a beautiful display of the range advantage, Flowers. He was killed without any member of Team Liquid even getting within reach of 100 Thieves. This is what it feels like late game when you run into these large range advantages. It's so hard to deal with an opponent that has much more reach than you. You are basically forced to all-in commit to your hard engages. And so if the extra range from Team Liquid finds you in mid there where you're not together, you cannot afford to hard engage. You can't overcommit to it. He gets chunked down. Tactical actually just walks his way out of range of the second activation there. Ssumday not able to find him with his second Ornn ultimate. Tactical still had his summoner spells though, so at most it would have been a flash blown.
Team Liquid is looking fierce here in this first game of the series. Now looking to push down the mid lane with top inhibitor already gone. The front line is about to die. Ssumday just barely stays alive there. Jensen's ulti was expended without a kill, so at least 100 Thieves know that there's not that extra burst threat. Still 30 seconds remaining on a Red Bull Baron buff. Already plus 3,771 gold for Team Liquid from this Baron. Teleport coming in now to reinforce their lines and try to get this done. They want to use the last little bit of this Baron to break this second lane open. Ssumday wants to go in, but Corejj is doing it again. He finds the engagement engage on multiple players time and time again. FBI exhausted, and the man can't do a thing. Abbedagge is going to die to the arrows in the air from Tactical as Huhi tries to hobble away. FBI somehow stays alive just barely, but it's him and Huhi at 200 HP. Closer's got enough health to try to protect them, but who's going to protect the Nexus? Closer walks forward, the Sonic Wave doesn't collide. Team Liquid, they've still got 4 players alive, and they're looking to take down FBI yet again. They've got him. Closer and Huhi, 2v4, it doesn't matter. Team Liquid 33 minutes in.